Far beyond the familiar stars, in a corner of the galaxy few dared to explore, a faint but urgent distress signal broke through the endless silence of space. It was unlike any message intercepted before, raw, desperate, and filled with a plea. For survival, the signal came from a planet no one had charted, a world covered in danger, where the very air seemed to fight against life. This SOS had traveled light years, reaching the ears of the Galactic Coalition's great fleets, renowned for maintaining peace and balance across the stars. Yet, despite their power and vast resources, the leaders of the Coalition hesitated. Many had heard rumors of the planet's deadly nature, called a death world by those who knew of it were hostile environments. Toxic storms and fierce creatures made landing a suicide mission. The Coalition's hesitation was not just caution, but fear. Sending their fleets there meant risking many lives for a civilization whose fate seemed already sealed. But Earth Space Command, listening quietly from their blue world, saw something different in that fragile signal. Where others heard danger, humans heard a call to action. The people of Earth were born on a planet that was itself a kind of death world, a place of extremes where nature's fury was not a tale but everyday reality. From scorching deserts to frozen tundras, from violent storms to dense jungles filled with predators, humanity had grown strong by surviving what many other species could not. This survival had forged in humans a spirit unlike any other, a blend of stubborn courage and quick adaptability. When the SOS reached Earth, there was no long debate, no risk assessment report that could outweigh the instinct to help. Humanity chose to answer. Earth's leaders and scientists moved swiftly, tapping into their deepest reserves of knowledge and strength. They sent out a call to their best and bravest soldiers, explorers, scientists trained not just to survive but to thrive in hostile environments. These people were called Deathworlders, a name earned by enduring Earth's harshest places and living to tell the tale. Their training was intense, designed to prepare them for the unknown, and their equipment was built to withstand the worst that any alien planet could throw at them. As the fleet prepared for departure, the people of Earth watched with a mix of hope and anxiety. Could these Deathworlders really be the answer to a cry for help from beyond the stars? Could humans, who had barely mastered their own planet, take on the challenge of a far more dangerous world? Inside the Space Command Center, the atmosphere was electric but tense. The signal, though steady, was faint, and every second brought new questions. Who were the aliens behind the SOS? What exactly was threatening them? Is this a trap or a genuine call for rescue? Yet the one thing no one could deny was the raw urgency in that signal, the sound of a civilization on the edge. As the Deathworlder fleet launched into the void, they carried with them not just technology and weapons, but the hopes of a species long used to fighting for survival. The journey ahead was uncertain, filled with unknown dangers and the possibility of failure. But if there was one thing humans had learned, it was that giving up was never an option. Far away, the alien planet awaited, shrouded in poisonous clouds and wild storms, a place where life was fragile and precious. It was a place where death was close behind every shadow, yet somewhere within it, survivors still clung to existence, hoping against hope that help would come. The stars seemed colder and darker as the fleet approached, but humanity's light burned bright in the silent depths of space. A new chapter was beginning, one where humans would test their limits and perhaps prove once again that when the galaxy calls for heroes, Earth answers without hesitation. As the urgent SOS signal continued to echo through Earth's space command centers, a decision had been made: humanity would respond, but not with just any fleet. This mission required a special kind of human, those who had been tempered in the harshest environments the planet could offer. They called them Deathworlders, a title earned through trials by fire, ice, and toxic air. These were soldiers, engineers, biologists, and survival experts who had spent years training and living in Earth's most extreme and unforgiving regions. From the blistering heat and shifting sands of deserts to the dense, insect-filled jungles where every step could mean danger. From the frozen tundras where frostbite was an ever-present threat to wastelands contaminated by chemical spills or radiation, these humans had faced nature's worst and come out alive. Their bodies were toughened, their minds sharpened by countless challenges that demanded quick thinking, unbreakable focus, and relentless willpower. The command center buzzed with activity as leaders worked feverishly to assemble this elite group. Names of seasoned veterans from remote Earth outposts were called, along with brilliant scientists who understood alien ecosystems and engineers who could adapt technology on the fly. There was no time for hesitation. The SOS was a race against extinction, and every moment counted. Ships were retrofitted with advanced life support systems capable of filtering alien toxins and protecting against atmospheric extremes. And special suits designed to mimic and enhance human endurance were distributed. Weapons and tools were customized for a planet that no one truly understood, but everyone agreed would challenge every instinct they had. Yet amid the flurry of preparation, doubts whispered through the halls. Some commanders and advisors cautioned against rushing into the unknown, warning that the hostile nature of the SOS planet might be beyond even human resilience. They questioned whether survival skills honed on Earth could truly prepare anyone for alien dangers that defied imagination, creatures with venom stronger than any snake's bite, plants that could trap and crush prey with unnatural speed, and whether that could change from scorching heat to freezing cold within minutes. Their voices brought tension to the room, and for a moment, fear threatened to weaken the human resolve. But the Deathworlders themselves were unmoved. Many had faced death countless times on their home world, and the experience had made them believe in one truth: no matter how fierce the environment, the human spirit was fiercer. They spoke quietly, but firmly in meetings, reminding everyone that humanity had not just survived, but thrived through millennia of natural disasters, wars, and planetary challenges. The harshest Earth terrains had forged their bodies and minds to meet threats head-on, adapting faster and harder than any other known species. Their confidence spread, quieting the skeptics and uniting the fleet with a sense of purpose. Stories were shared of past missions where Deathworlders had ventured into volcanic ash clouds, toxic chemical spills, and near-freezing water without backing down. These tales fueled the crew's determination, igniting hope that they could bring salvation to an alien race in desperate need. As the launch day drew closer, the atmosphere was electric with a mix of excitement, fear, and anticipation. Families watched their loved ones leave, knowing this mission could change the course of history or end in tragedy. Scientists ran last-minute simulations running through every known variable, while commanders studied the limited data on the SOS planet again and again, searching for any clue to prepare better. The fleet's vessels, gleaming under Earth's sun, were a symbol of humanity's refusal to stand by and watch another civilization perish. Engineers put final touches on their customized gear, including adaptive exoskeletons that could increase strength and endurance, biosensors to monitor vital signs in hostile atmospheres, and portable shelters capable of withstanding intense storms. Medical teams trained in alien biology prepared for the unknown illnesses they might encounter. The Deathworlders trained relentlessly, even in those last hours, running drills that tested their ability to survive sudden attacks, navigate treacherous terrain, and cooperate as a tightly knit unit. Their conversations were a blend of strategy and quiet moments of reflection, each aware of the weight they carried, but determined to face it together. As the countdown began and the engines roared to life, the world held its breath. People across Earth watched the launch on screens there, hearts pounding with a mixture of pride and worry. The Deathworlder fleet, a collection of ships piloted by humanity's toughest and smartest, was heading into the darkest unknown, bound for a planet where few dared to step and where an entire civilization waited silently for a miracle. The uncertainty was profound. No one knew what awaited them beyond the stars, whether the alien survivors would even trust humans, or if the death world would claim more lives before rescue could begin. Yet, in that moment, as the ships pierced the atmosphere and streaked into the vastness of space, one thing was clear: humanity was not turning away. The courage forged on Earth's harshest battlefields and wildernesses now carried the hope of a distant world. This was more than a mission, it was a declaration that when others feared, humans fought. When others hesitated, humans advanced. And when the galaxy whispered cries of despair, humanity answered with the unbreakable resolve of Deathworlders, ready to face the impossible and prove that no environment, no matter how deadly, could crush the spirit of those who refuse to give up. The moment the fleet entered the orbit of the SOS planet, a silent tension settled over every crew member. From the shimmering windows of their ships, they could see the swirling storms that blanketed the planet's surface, storms laced with poisonous gases and electric fury. The world below was no gentle place. It was a land where survival was a daily battle against nature's harshest laws. As the Deathworlder fleet prepared to descend, every member of the team was keenly aware that this mission was unlike any other they had faced. Touching down was a challenge in itself. Clouds of toxic spores swirled around the ships, and jagged rock formations rose sharply, making landing sites scarce and dangerous. The landing zones were chosen carefully, guided by the faintest traces of energy readings that suggested where the alien refugees might be hiding. When the ships finally touched the ground, the environment struck them with full force. The air was heavy and foul, filled with chemicals that made breathing a chore despite the filtration suits. Strange plants with sharp glowing thorns swayed ominously in the constant violent winds, while strange sounds echoed from the surrounding alien forest, sounds that suggested predators lurking just beyond sight. The Deathworlders moved cautiously, their training kicking in immediately. Years of surviving Earth's most extreme places had prepared them to expect the unexpected, and they relied on every skill and tool they had. They navigated through toxic swamps that could dissolve human flesh in minutes, avoided carnivorous plants that reached out like living traps, and dodged swift, deadly creatures that blended perfectly into the hostile landscape. But their greatest challenge was not just the environment, it was finding the alien refugees themselves. These beings were hidden deep underground, in vast cities carved into the planet's rocky core. The aliens had built their homes far below the surface to escape the deadly storms and predators that ruled above. However, even underground, the refugees were worn thin by years of hardship, their technology failing, their trust nearly broken by isolation and fear. When the Deathworlders finally made contact, it was under heavy suspicion. The aliens were weak, frightened, and unsure if these strange newcomers were friends or threats. Their language was unfamiliar, their customs strange, and their faces marked by suffering. For days, there was little more than guarded observation, as both sides tried to understand each other's intentions. The Deathworlders, however, brought more than weapons. They carried knowledge, hope, and a willingness to learn. Human biologists studied the alien physiology and environment with great care, sharing insights into how to adapt to the poisonous air and toxic soil. Engineers offered to repair damaged life support systems and reinforce underground shelters. Slowly, the walls of distrust began to crack as humans demonstrated their respect and determination to help. The aliens were amazed by humanity's resilience, how people from a distant planet, once thought fragile, could survive and even thrive in the most extreme conditions. They listened as Deathworlders recounted stories of Earth's deserts and frozen wastes, of storms that could tear cities apart, and creatures that were as deadly as anything here. This shared experience of hardship and survival created a bridge between two very different worlds. Conversations turned into collaborations, as the humans and aliens worked side by side to improve living conditions and plan for future defense. The Deathworlders taught the aliens new techniques for gathering food safely and purifying air more effectively, while the refugees shared knowledge of the planet's hidden dangers and how to avoid them. Despite the fragile nature of this alliance, hope began to grow. Yet, even as cooperation blossomed, the dangers of the surface world never vanished. The planet's storms raged on, unpredictable and violent, and the predators continued to stalk the shadows, reminding everyone that survival here was a constant test. The Deathworlders remained vigilant, ready to defend their new allies at a moment's notice. Trust was not given free. It had to be earned daily through actions and sacrifices. Small conflicts and misunderstandings arose, as they always do, when two cultures collide, but the shared goal of survival kept the uneasy peace intact. Both humans and aliens learned from each other, blending technology and tradition in ways that neither had expected. The SOS mission had become more than a rescue. It was a chance for two species to unite against the harshest odds. As days turned into weeks, the Deathworlder's presence became a symbol of hope to the refugees, proof that help had truly arrived. The once desolate underground cities began to buzz with renewed energy and purpose, and plans were made not just for survival, but for reclaiming the surface. The humans' adaptability and determination had given the alien refugees something they had long lost faith in the future. In the vast darkness of space, the Deathworlder fleet remained a shining example of humanity's courage and resilience, proving that even in the face of overwhelming danger, the will to survive and to help others could light a path through the deadliest worlds, just as hope began to spread among the alien refugees and the Deathworlders. The fragile peace shattered with the sudden arrival of a terrifying new enemy. From the shadows of the planet's dense and deadly forests emerged a predatory alien species unlike anything the humans or refugees had ever faced before. These creatures were massive, fast, and intelligent hunters, perfectly adapted to the brutal environment they called home. Their sharp claws and armored bodies allowed them to tear through metal and flesh alike, and their glowing eyes seemed to pierce through the darkest nights. It quickly became clear that these predators were the architects of much of the devastation the SOS planet had suffered. They hunted not just for food, but to dominate and destroy anything that threatened their control of the land. The arrival of these creatures forced the Deathworlders and their alien allies into immediate battle. The rescue mission, once focused on healing and survival, now transformed into a desperate fight for life itself. Yet, even in the face of this overwhelming threat, the humans refused to retreat or give in, drawing on every ounce of their training, grit, and experience. The Deathworlders became the galaxy's frontline defenders, standing firm against the Predator's relentless attacks. They employed guerrilla tactics learned from Earth's toughest battlefields, striking swiftly and then disappearing into the environment before the enemy could respond. Using the planet's own dangers to their advantage, set traps made from poisonous plants and engineered devices that lured the predators into deadly ambushes. The terrain, once a deadly obstacle, now became a weapon in the hands of these resourceful fighters. Coordination between the humans and alien refugees grew stronger. Blending their knowledge of the landscape and the enemy's behavior too, mounted defense that surprised even the predators themselves. The battle was brutal and unforgiving. Every encounter was a test of courage and survival, with losses suffered on both sides. But each victory, no matter how small, fueled the resolve of the defenders. Stories of narrow escapes and clever traps spread quickly through the underground cities, bringing new hope to those who had long feared the end was near. The Deathworlder's determination became a symbol of resistance, inspiring the refugees to stand and fight rather than hide in fear. In the midst of the chaos, bonds between the two species deepened. Humans shared their tactical knowledge, teaching the aliens how to organize and defend themselves more effectively. While the refugees showed humans secret paths and hidden shelters, that could be used to regroup and recover. This exchange of trust and cooperation was more than survival strategy. It was the foundation of a new alliance forged in fire and blood, as the predators adapted to the humans' tactics. The battle evolved into a deadly game of strategy and endurance. The Deathworlders continually innovated, developing new weapons and defenses suited to the alien environment, refusing to be outmatched. Their persistence sent a clear message not only to the predators, but to the galaxy watching from afar: humanity would not be broken by any challenge, no matter how deadly. The ongoing struggle on the SOS planet became a testament to the unyielding spirit of life itself, a reminder that survival was not just about strength, but about willpower, teamwork, and hope. Each day that the Deathworlders held the line was a victory against extinction, a proof that even in the darkest hours, courage could shine the brightest. As the conflict dragged on, whispers of hope began to spread beyond the underground cities. News of humanity's fierce defense reached other civilizations, slowly changing the galaxy's view of humans from fragile newcomers to fearless warriors. The SOS planet's battle became a symbol of resilience, showing that no matter how hostile the universe could be, the human spirit was a force that would refuse to be defeated. The predators, once rulers of the land, faced an enemy that matched their cunning and strength, and the fight for the planet's future continued with a fierce determination. In this crucible of danger and despair, humanity and their alien allies learned that the greatest weapon was not firepower alone, but the will to survive and protect what mattered most. The Deathworlder fleet, battered but unbroken, stood as a living proof that sometimes hope arrived in the most unlikely forms, and that when the galaxy's darkest threats appeared, humanity would rise to meet them with unshakable resolve. After weeks of relentless battle and tireless effort, the Deathworlder fleet and the alien refugees finally saw the first signs of hope on the SOS planet. The predatory threat that once dominated the landscape had been pushed back, forced to retreat into the deepest and most dangerous parts of the world. With the enemy weakened and the immediate danger receding, survivors began to breathe a little easier. Though the wounds left behind by conflict were still fresh and the environment remained harsh. But now, instead of fighting only to survive, the joint human and alien teams turned their attention to healing and rebuilding what had been lost. Engineers and biologists worked together to restore damaged ecosystems, using advanced human technology alongside alien knowledge of the planet's unique life forms. Contaminated soils were treated and air purification systems were installed both above and below ground. New settlements began to take shape, designed to withstand the planet's unpredictable weather and to provide safer homes for the refugees who had suffered so much. The underground cities, once dark and somber, now buzzed with renewed energy, in cautious optimism. Children who had lived their entire lives underground in fear stepped outside to see sunlight for the first time, their eyes wide with wonder and curiosity. The cooperation between humans and aliens grew deeper every day. Where there had once been mistrust, respect, and friendship, now blossomed. The refugees admired humanity's stubborn courage and willingness to face the planet's deadliest dangers. Head-on, humans, in turn, were humbled by the aliens' endurance and their determination to survive against all odds. Together, they crafted a new way of life that combined the best of both cultures' technology that adapted to the environment, traditions that honored the past, and a shared vision for a future where neither species would have to hide or fear. Again, far from the SOS planet, the Galactic Coalition watched these developments with growing respect. The same leaders who had once hesitated to intervene now recognized humanity's vital role in shaping the galaxy's future. News of the Deathworlder's bravery and success spread quickly, changing old perceptions and opening new doors for cooperation. Earth, once considered a young and fragile world, had proven itself as a beacon of strength and resilience. When the fleet finally prepared to return home, the atmosphere was bittersweet. The Deathworlders had formed bonds that would not be easily broken, and leaving behind their alien friends felt like saying goodbye to family. But there was also pride in what they had accomplished. A mission that started with uncertainty had become a story of courage, unity, and hope that would inspire generations. As their ships lifted off from the battered surface, the survivors below watched with gratitude and admiration. The SOS planet, once a symbol of despair and destruction, was now a symbol of what could be achieved when diverse beings worked together. On Earth, celebrations erupted upon the fleet's return. People gathered to hear the stories of hardship and bravery, to meet the soldiers and scientists who had faced unimaginable dangers, and to honor the spirit that had carried humanity beyond the stars. The Deathworlders were hailed as heroes, but their true victory was something deeper, the proof that humans, born of a planet as fierce as any, could stand alongside the galaxy's oldest civilizations and offer not just strength, but hope. This mission marked a turning point for humanity and for the wider galaxy. A new alliance was forged, one built on trust, respect, and shared purpose. Humans brought to the table their unique adaptability and courage, qualities that no technology or weapon could replace. They had faced deathworlds, predators, and the unknown, and had emerged stronger each time. This alliance promised a future where cooperation could overcome fear, where the harshest worlds could be tamed not by conquest but by partnership. As the stars glittered overhead and Earth's blue sky welcomed back its champions, it was clear that this was only the beginning. Humanity's place in the galaxy was no longer in question. The SOS planet had been a test, and humanity had passed with honor. From now on, wherever cries for help rang out across the cosmos, humans would answer not just as survivors, but as leaders, protectors, and friends. The story of the Deathworlders would be told for generations, a legend of grit and hope shining through the darkest nights, reminding everyone that no matter how deadly the world, the human spirit could always find a way to survive and thrive.